it's just building back, right? In this instance, when you're eating food, that's catabolic because you're breaking food down, right? You're breaking it down into smaller parts. Then it goes into the next phase, which is metabolism. So what metabolism, we've all heard that word, right? We have a fast metabolism, a slow metabolism. That doesn't really mean a whole lot, actually. After all the years of hearing that, like, my mom used to say that all the time, like, oh, you just have a fast metabolism. Even though I'm training 3 times a day and I'm basically, you know, have a pro athlete schedule and I'm taking care of my body. But, you know, there is something to that. I'll break that down really quickly just so we understand really what that is. A fast metabolism, all that is actually what's called fast oxidation. So that's when you burn, let's say, for example, you burn fat as fuel more. And you burn through calories really, really quickly. Opposed to if you have a slow metabolism or you're a slow oxidizer. Meaning that you don't burn through calories quite as fast. And that person actually can sustain themselves more on carbohydrates opposed to more fat as fuel. Because fat is more dense, and so it actually can burn a lot longer, kind of like a log to a fire, opposed to like a magazine, you know, compilation of paper to a fire. Does that idea make sense? Okay. I just want to break that down because we hear about all these diets like the low carb, high carb. What's that about? Why does it work for some people, not for others? Well, it's actually because their metabolism is different. And some people are they just are different in that way. So one of the ideas here is that you have to understand where you kind of fit in that puzzle. And I think for most people, ideally, if we can find ourselves somewhere in the middle where we have a healthy balance, for me personally, I'm a fast oxidizer. So I have a lot of energy. I burn up food a lot. I metabolize food into energy. And that's what metabolism really is, the process of turning substances that we put into our mouth into packets of energy. Sometimes that's called ATP or adenosine triphosphate. Those are basically nucleotides we call energy packets. And then that's how we produce energy from our food. And our body has to understand which kind of food it's using as energy current. So you can kind of figure that out in the morning. First thing I always recommend, and I always repeat this, you didn't hear me say it last time, say it again. First thing you do in the morning is... Drink your water. Drink water. Yeah. Right.
After I brush my teeth.
There you go. Or, actually, before that, you could do something called tongue scraping.
Yes, sir.
Does anyone know about tongue scraping?
Yep.
Yeah. This is key. And this will be a bigger topic next week. But basically, tongue scraping is just getting like a copper wire, where they sell it. They sell it now, like in a Whole Foods or just any kind of natural food store, the Natch. And you basically scrape the white film that comes up on your tongue every morning. It's basically a residual metabolic waste products from digestion that when we sleep are being processed through our lungs, but our mouth is closed, right? So it all just kind of sits on our tongue. So in the morning, if you go to the mirror, stick out pretty much like 95% dry matter bacteria. And then if your body has 90% water, you're lucky. Because most people, as they age, the water content goes down, down, down. That's why you'll start to see the skin quality go down and down and down. Water, by the way, is actually a really good point. It could lead me to a whole long thing on why. I think I did a thing on water last week. It always shows up because if you want beautification, you got to be like a river of water in your body. And you have to know how to retain that water. That has a lot to do with minerals and salts. Actually, having the right kind of salts in your body or the right kind of sodium, because sodium is what holds on to water. Because so a lot of people may have had the experience where they've just drinking water, maybe it's filtered water or something. They've just drinking water and it just goes right through them, right? But they're like, you know, I just keep drinking water, but I don't feel hydrated. Or it sits in their stomach. Has anyone had that experience? Yeah, that shouldn't happen. Water's not supposed to, your body's supposed to sponge. The final process of all your functions when you eat food is to eliminate the waste products. Right? So one more time, I'll just slide through this, is that you're eating food, you're breaking it down, little particles, and then you're metabolizing some of those particles into energy packets to produce energy. Then the rest of it's turning into building materials to build your cartilage, to build your muscle tissue, to build your brain tissue, all of it, right? And then the rest of it is what's called metabolic waste product, which is just the leftover, non-usable stuff that needs to leave the body. And we all kind of know what that looks like. The reason why has a lot to do with food allergies and being addicted to foods that we're actually allergic to. That's a cultural paradox that we're living in, is actually most of the foods that people are addicted to, they're actually allergic to also. It's creating an antagonizing effect on their digestive system, and it could also be creating micro tears in their lining.